in a good roguelite, you can usually weight the RNG in a certain way.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, look at what Isaac players end up doing. That's the story. That's why it's engaging.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's fairly difficult to explain without having to kind of resort to these absolute things of, oh yeah, well, anything that's in any capacity rewarding your brain is bad. Because that's not like true whatsoever. And even like, you know, you look at Mythic dungeons and they're supposed to have elements of things too. That's what the affixes are there for. Because you have a different experience on a different affix kind of day. Or different day, week. And you've got different people you're playing with, different combinations. There's loads of stuff that can be different and feel a little bit meaningful there. But whenever you're doing them for the reward, because you're trained for the reward, then none of that matters. You drown it all out and just go, is there anything you basically pull the lever. Is there anything in my Mythic dungeon box? No. I'll try again. No. I'll try again. Yes. Oh, fucking yeah, let's go. I got something in my box. Obviously, I mean, I don't think people get one bit of loot and start cheering like that. But it does that little flick in your brain. It's like, ding, happy days. Especially when you don't expect it. And then the weekly vault's a regular source of drugs.
It's like, what's take the player story of... This is where I think WoW like has a bit of a misfire in its ARPGification, because I think the player story of playing a D3 season or, you know, whatever season of a PoE or something, you know, to me it was not really what would appeal to me massively. But if I was to sort of steelman that game's position, it is that there are loads of cool new build possibilities and fun gameplay and things you can do with your character in a way that you'll feel some ownership of it. I mean, people probably just go look up a guide, but whatever. Like, that's the cool, unique story. But for a WoW Mythic Plus dungeon, it's just, well, these talents, those legendaries, and you're just trying to get more gear. And maybe a specific trinket. So it's like, that isn't even as interesting of a player story as, you know, playing Isaac on a character, trying to get one of those crazy runs and, you know, trying to weigh the RNG in a certain way and, you know, all that jazz, basically.
And also, to put it granular how much that meaning can be in terms of the point that's not just the simple reward. It's if you're playing a character action game and you just do a fight really well, there's elements of that are like kind of supported. If you're playing DMC, like DMC 5 and vocals kick in when you hit S rank, that feels great, but that's kind of, it's establishing based on your performance and how you got to that point. And that's the kind of stuff that can feel like you're expressing yourself a little bit through how you play. Obviously, you're not like, I am an artist and my canvas is combo videos. I mean, that's actually true how people do things. Sunny Legend works for Gorilla now because of doing that on Twitter.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a community manager or PR person for them.
That's incredible.
Does all of their like official video stuff now, where you see incredible combat chats. And that's the kind of thing where it doesn't need to be like a story or a meaningful story or something right down. It can just be that feeling of, oh, I've tried something new and it's really cool. You can have little micro player stories, I guess, in that sense. And that's what I think the mass homogenization of gameplay kind of kills that.
It's like the closer that everything gets to the inevitable of an idle RPG, the worse. That's like kind of it.
Yeah, that's
that. And when you look at so many mobile ARPGs, they're just idle games with a veneer of gameplay.
Yeah, you get notifications to remember to
like that's Archero.
Yeah.
Archero is an idle game with a veneer of gameplay. Same for the other one they did, Pugball, Punball, or whatever the hell it's called.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, there you go. Maybe that's an interesting discussion. Maybe it's a load of shit. Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't think it was.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think people are largely on board with that. I do think it. I hope people reevaluate their experience with World of Warcraft. To try and make the game better for themselves by thinking about why they play it.
And
that's what I've been doing.
I have empathy for feeling... No, nah, Malbrax, this is pre-recorded.
Yeah.
I think that to throw the other side of it in, because it's not good to just bash people for the gameplay habits. Yeah. Like, and this is something that happens to both of us quite regularly. Yeah. To engage in a novel experience properly requires effort.
Oh, hard as hell. It's so much effort.
In a world where everything is just screaming at you.
Yeah.
You then fall into your low effort grindy game because it takes no effort to get there. And I guess you want to play a game and it will make the time go away.
Yeah. And also, like, I guess it comes down to you can, there's this whole bias of the illusion of control. You don't really have as much control over yourself as you think because of all that stuff. And that's a pretty nasty topic to kind of think about, but it's fundamentally like why do you want to do what you want to do? And a lot of that is your brain chemistry. When it comes to what you want to eat, a lot of that is like your gut sending signals to your brain, because your brain is a very complicated thing and it drives what you do. And all of the rational thinking is also influenced by all of that, like irrational and subconscious and brain chemistry stuff. So it's like whenever you're like, well, what do I want to do? It's like, why? Why do you want to do that? And a lot of the time, if you're like, well, I want to go and, I'll play a round of this roguelite or something, or I'll log in and do a dungeon in WoW. Some of that's like, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for the chance of a reward? Am I pulling the slot machine lever? Or am I interested in something cool? And you can come up with whatever answer. And you can also go, well, I just kind of really don't really feel like doing much except pulling the lever. That's all right as long as you know you're doing it. Or in the long term, yeah, go for it. Like, I would never say, no, don't do that. Only have meaningful experiences, because that would make me a fucking hypocrite, among other things. But yeah, absolutely. Matt has gotten into a behavioralist rabbit hole. It seems. Good luck. I never want to get out. This is great. I love this. It's really enjoyable. It's really, really enjoyable. It's fucking terrible. Yeah, pulling the lever can be fun. Yeah, can be.
Bellular, please tell me how to fix farming in open world and use the whole world instead of 2 spots. So what I assume you're kind of getting at is that idea of like, just things feel small. I would say the way to do that is potentially what they're trying to do in the next expansion, but I don't know if they'll do it that well, because they don't really have what they have in like a Guild Wars 2, where their zones can just be a bit more vibrant with things going on. But overall, it would just be to have world quests in different zones actually feel different to each other, not just by a thin veneer of theme, but like deeply gameplay-wise feel different. The reps should deeply gameplay-wise feel different. Each one should have rewards that feel different, and be different in the reward format as well, because generally you don't want things to be homogenized. You want things to make as much sense for that particular faction or story as is possible. That's obviously more work, but I think it's basically just that. It is by making those things more unique and kind of like more interesting. If you mean farming as in farming like skin or herbs or something, then
I have never in my life heard it as farming skin.
What is this, farming skin?
You farm leather, because skin sounds wrong. I know you're skinning. You're farming your skinning, or you're farming leather. You're not farming skin. You are, but don't say that.
Okay, you skin-covered meat.
That's really no, yeah, okay.
As for that, I don't really know. I mean, one way you could do that is have like maybe bounty creatures or like bounty events that are kind of accessible and are kind of like spread throughout the world. It's like little mini events to kind of shake it up. Like that could be one way of preventing those, like, hyper optimize the farming spots. But then the problem is that the cross realm zones, people will just kind of move from realm to realm, or shard to shard to shard to shard, to go to the shard that has the nice tasty spawn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let me put this in a term that a developer might enjoy. Less predictable variability in where value is found in the world.
There you go.
Because 2 spots is just, fuck it, we've designed 2 spots, we'll call it a day. Design a system where that could happen anywhere, and then also do that so people don't just have an add-on that uses data to track where it's likely to be, and you run around circles. Man, developing games is hard. I feel so bad. But yeah, absolutely. Players should stop trying to min-max every aspect of the game. Aaron, I agree. However,
it's designed that way.
It's not just designed that way. Humans do that.
Yeah.
Every game designer is really pissed off at that. The first order optimal strategy was the quote from, was it Sid Meier or someone else who worked in Civilization, saying players will optimize the fun out of the game. Because that's what we do. We're problem solvers. That's what human brains do. They solve problems. So you solve a problem. Anytime you play an action game and you find the one button, or like the 3 buttons that does the most damage, and you find yourself doing it over and over again, that's what you're doing. You've just optimized, and now you're going to enjoy the game less. And the developer has a lot to do there, where the developer can go, okay, well then we will have damage reduction on the same thing happening. So you only use that combo so many times before you're forced to swap to another one. And then you'll find a way to optimize within that.
Yeah.
And then you'll find the thing that, say you have a proration of, you use it once, use something else, then it returns full strength. Then you'll swap between 2. If it's 3, you'll find the 3 optimal combos to do. And then maybe at some point it's 4, and then you stop being able to solve that problem, and then do it some other way. And that's where World of Warcraft kind of was for the longest time. It's like, this is so complicated, I don't know how to solve this problem individually. And that's when the power of the human collective came in, and everyone went, the internet's for sharing information. Hang on, what if we network our brains like some sci-fi creature and solve every gameplay problem World of Warcraft ever has, so we can min-max every single part, so everyone knows what to do every second of a raid fight, and everyone knows exactly what gear to have for everything, every GCD optimized, and then you've got Classic today, because that's what people do by default.
Yeah,
so that's why things need to change. That's why things need to be insane. That's why game developers have a really, really, really hard time in making a game stay fun, because you are a great problem solver and will optimize the fun out of it.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is incredible. It's incredible how annoying like we are just as an existence.
Oh, we can't stop.
Yeah, it's
But
like,
be
please.
annoying.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you just make things needlessly complicated and then tell players, shh, don't worry. This is too complicated, but don't worry about it. Don't think about it. I mean, it's the same with the talent trees. The talent trees have all these great options to them. And then people are going to go, well, I want the one that's the best. Sort it out. But if this was a single player game, you'd be less inclined to go and Google what the best is, because there's probably less information, or it doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
But with the social pressure of everyone else min-maxing, because you know everyone else does, then you'll just Google the right combination. And there's a whole bunch of factors, and the Blizzard can do fuck all about it, basically.
Yeah.
They just have to design cases for you to find that enjoyable.
The best that they can do is just design stuff to be so varied and so fun.
Yeah.
And to design content.
Yep.
But I think there's the problem. Mythic Plus demands that.
Yep, it does.
Even the format of Mythic Plus demands that, because you could have multiple different approaches to going through like a super, super hard dungeon.
Yeah.
But because of the time pressure of Mythic Plus, it's always going to force you to hyper-optimize to the one.
Yeah.
Or, force.
It's performance oriented, which means you're going to be performance oriented, which means you're more likely to do this. And because your time and your time efficiency, which is extremely important in World of Warcraft, because it's the only resource you really have to worry about, is your time and the amount of stuff you do. So then you get really annoyed at other people for not being optimal, because that's annoying your time. And some people are like have differently that way. I don't mind if a dungeon takes 5 minutes longer, because I'm like, whatever. I'm not going to be annoyed at this person for not being optimal, whatever else. But for other people, that your mileage may vary there. Your mileage may vary.